Hi, it's Getting Baked with Di. We are going to make my herb can of cheese puffs today, which first we'll have to make our can of butter. A story about these cheese puffs, I love making them. That the recipe came from my mother. We went to church at Porterfield Methodist in Albany, Georgia, and her best friend Sue Ham also went there. And at age 15, I started teaching Sunday school with my mother and Sue. And the church every year would do a recipe book to help raise money. And it was her Sunday school class, their Sunday school class. And one of the recipes that they put in there was the cheese puffs. And I have modified it quite a bit. Which reminds me, I need spices. Be right back. Hi, did you miss me? I missed you. You gotta have your cayenne and your crushed red pepper. Or you don't, but I do. Anyway, first we need to make our can of butter in order to make this wonderful recipe. I have the decarbed herb that we did earlier. It is fabulous. It smells so good. My whole house does. I'm sure the neighborhood does, and I am glad about that. Anyway, we're going to mix this in with melted butter. I have just put it in the microwave for 20 seconds, stirred it 20 more seconds. I'm going to infuse the herb into the butter. I am not going to then, as many people do, if you want a nice smooth green butter with no flour material in it, you're going to put it in a glass jar, the butter and the herb, and then put with a lid on it and put that in a water bath for about 3 hours, cooking it real slow and a nice little boil, simmer, and let it infuse, and then you'll drain it through cheesecloth. I don't want to do that because I like the herb in it. So we're going to mix it in here. Mix all of the herb. This is 3.5 grams, which is an eighth, of Blue Dream from Liberty Health Sciences. Remember, these recipes are to help you with your medical issues, whatever they are: anxiety, pain, PTSD, arthritis, migraines, all of these things. They've really changed my life with my insomnia. I don't have that anymore. My arthritis pain is less than half. My fibromyalgia is insane. You can go to Canna MD and search for Diana Sharp-Russum's article about fibromyalgia and treating with cannabis and learn about how it changed my life, literally. We have mixed the decarbed herb in with the butter. Okay, I'm just going to stir that around. It is so pretty. If you want to thoroughly mix anything together, do it in a figure eight. Okay, that is just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Now, when I have an 8 ounces of shredded white organic extra sharp cheddar cheese. I love organic. It's more expensive. You get what you want. And I love the extra sharp cheese. I like to use these gelato or ice cream or yogurt containers because they're already freezer ready, and this dough that I make can go in the freezer for later, or it can go in the refrigerator, and you know that it's going to store. You can also store the edibles themselves after they're baked in it, and the bugs aren't going to get in it, and they're not going to go bad. So I love these. Don't throw them away. Use whatever you want. So we're going to get our ingredients. I have sifted. You don't have to, but I think it's better. I have sifted a cup of flour with 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. The original recipe does not call for any baking powder, but cheese sticks do. In my opinion, the baking powder makes them puff up better. Also, you must chill this dough if you want it to puff. If you just want to eat it immediately, you're having an anxiety attack, you need to eat them, that's fine. They're just going to look more like cheese cookies instead of puffs. Okay, so we have our flour that has been sifted with the baking powder. I'm going to add some crushed red pepper because I love the heat. So I'm just sprinkling a good amount because I'm crazy. Okay. I got cayenne pepper, and, you know, love it. So, a couple of good amounts in there. We're gonna just kind of stir that around, this knife I've been using. And then, next, what I like to do is add cheese to my can of butter so I can absorb it all, and so the can of butter can absorb into the fat of the cheese before putting it in the flour and the dry ingredients. It disperses the medication better, the herb better. So we have a good amount of the cheese in there to absorb up our butter. Just gonna kind of mix that around. Oh, it's so pretty. And they bake up so beautifully. You see the beautiful green flecks of herb in every cheese puff, and it's so good. Now, these are powerful, okay? You're gonna eat one, you're gonna wait 20 minutes, and then you're gonna feel so much better. Then, if you really feel like you're still full of anxiety, pain, whatever, after that 20 minutes, eat one more. One more. I don't know how to say it in all the other languages, but one. And then we're going to add more cheese. Then if you feel like after about an hour, you're going to feel so fantastic. And if you still feel like you need a little bit more, eat one more. 3 in an 8-hour period is more than enough. More than enough. And then at bedtime, have a couple more. Okay, I've got a good little bit mixed here. Now I'm going to just dump the whole thing into, it should get all of the butter, should just scrape right out pretty much, into the rest of the cheese. I really like to get it mixed into the cheese well before mixing it in the flour. That way you can control how much you're getting. Now, this, you can do the math. I'm not going to right now. Sorry. I've been smoking, so no, I'm not going to do the math right now. But this is 3.5 grams. It's Blue Dream, so it was 21.5% THC. It does have CBD in it too. There's 21.5% THC. So the recipe makes, if the last time I calculated, depending on what size balls you make them in, but if you do it the way that I do it, kind of a quarter size ball, you get about 66. And so you can divide 66 into the 21.5 THC, or, you know, and figure all of that out, and you'll know exactly how much you're getting. I'm telling you that you do not need, and I'm a very heavy cannabis user because I have all kinds of medical issues, like mega issues. So I'm telling you, you don't need more than 3 and 8 hours. You don't. And most people don't need more than one. And especially to go to sleep, you just need to eat one about 20, 30 minutes before bedtime, read a book or something, and wait to go to bed. Turn off your electronics. Anyway, so we have this mixed up. It looks fabulous. We're going to add it to the dry ingredients, our flour, and then we'll have a dough. And what we're going to do after we get it all mixed up is we're going to put it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to put it back in this container. It's perfect for the refrigerator. We're going to put it back in the refrigerator and store it in this container. And then when I need something for my anxiety, I will bake about 6 to 8 of them. And then I've got an entire day's worth if I'm having a really, really bad day, plus the next morning. So it's absolutely fabulous. Now, you can actually add your concentrates that I used earlier. I took some concentrate, I ate it on a cracker. If you want, you can put concentrate in your decarbed, in with your decarbed herb and in the butter. You can actually make the butter with just concentrate. You can infuse it. Whatever you prefer. Whatever you prefer. So it's just up to you. You could actually make this if you wanted to. You could do it with like half coconut oil and half butter. I have not used quite that much before, but I have used a little bit of coconut oil when I was almost out of butter. But I like butter. So, but if you're vegan, I guess you could try this with a nut butter cheese, and maybe, I guess, add that nutritional yeast or something, and do almond milk. I would do cashew milk over almond milk. In my opinion, cashew milk is thicker. So, speaking of that, my next recipe will be my Nutella brownies, or as we'll call them, chocolate hazelnut brownies. In fact, I'm going to look around at the different types of chocolate hazelnut and see which has less sugar, because the first ingredient is sugar. That's kind of alarming. But and you know, we'll see which ones are the less price, and if we could get cheaper, and if we could get organic or whatever, and maybe less sugar. But we'll look. But I'm going to make that recipe, and it's literally 2 ingredients. 2 ingredients is so easy. But I'm also came up with my very own recipe. I'm going to make a cashew butter brownie, but it's going to be savory. I don't think I'm going to add any sugar at all. Just cashew butter and one other ingredient. So you'll have to. There's a trick to that. Just using those 2 ingredients. Take some elbow grease, and unless you have all of those kitchen appliances that I don't have yet, but I will be buying a blender. And if you guys have